Now, Tanya, Vice President of Marketing, she's got a different point in the experience going on. She's been quietly applying for 6 months with no traction. Her resume is strong, she tells us, and she says her network's rather decent. So based on what I've told you, which I know is limited, Judy, what might be missing from Tanya's approach to landing her next great role?
Well, a couple things. So, uh, and this is, I've only have surface information. One of the things we do is we do a deep dive to figure out like what exactly is going on because there could be a lot of things once you get under that surface. Um, One, it could be as simple as she's just doesn't really know what those next roles that are in line with her background are aligned to, and therefore she's applying to jobs that she's not really a good fit for. Because even for us at Executive, we do some research for our clients where we will go in and actually identify with them what roles are best aligned with their background and their goals. Now, if she's saying to you, but I'm applying to jobs, when I look at the basic qualifications and everything, I'm the perfect candidate and I'm getting no traction, then I would then go immediately to your resume, or even sometimes I wouldn't even use a resume because right now in today's market, I'll tell you right now, and this is nothing new for executives, anybody on this call, executives, I've been in HR for 30 something years. You do not go apply for your jobs. You don't go look online. I mean, now there may be Eureka, someone applies, but I'll even tell you behind the scenes, the way I recruit when I'm looking for an executive at any company that Tony mentioned I've worked at, I go to my networks first. I start tapping people who know people who know people. Now, if I have to post the job, and let me tell you, because whoever's on this call, 2025 is a different animal. There are so many people applying that unless Harvard, we were federal contractors, so we had to apply all jobs unless they were internal promotion. But if I don't have that restriction, I am not going to deal with the hundreds of people that are applying. People on this call, when you look on LinkedIn, you will see hundreds of people have applied to that job. You've got to have a different in. First of all, it may be, first going back to Tanya, it may be that her resume is not designed in a way to get her noticed. And there are clear ways to do that. This is not a big secret, but I will tell you, most executives, particularly those who've been in roles for a longer period of time, haven't had to put together this collateral. It seems daunting. What you're probably doing is putting in, this is what I did. That's not what I want. Because guess what? When I present candidates to senior management, I've done a deep dive myself in HR. That's why they've got me there. I'm only presenting about 3 candidates to leadership for these senior positions. But I'm going to tell you a secret, everybody. You all look a lot alike. In fact, I am proud when I pull the committee together to form a consensus on who we're going to hire when they're struggling to figure out who to hire because everyone's got the 20, 30 years of experience. They're strong in IT. So you got to ask yourself, what makes you different?
Hmm.
You got to start pulling yourself away from these other candidates because guess what? Like I said earlier, executives, think about it. Even though this market is tough, you're used to this. When you think of executive roles, think of a pyramid. There are less at the top. You've always competed for these jobs. You're competing now. There's just more people in the pool fighting with you. So now you got to think about how am I different? How do I start to uh, brand myself? Once, if you're applying for the jobs that you're in line for, that you've got the background, the qualifications for, and you're still not getting traction, then it's either your resume or sometimes I wouldn't even go to the resume. I would look at I would look at maybe even a like a bio or something that's not so heavy text because a resume holds a bit of a negative connotation. The research says that 70% or a little better of executives tend to get their jobs through who they know. What people don't realize, the second half of that research, it's not who you know that has your next job for you. It's who they know. So
Hmm.
you sending them a resume holds a bit of a negative connotation that says, help me, I'm looking for a job. You're an executive. The company needs you. You are never put in that position. So you get a nice polished 1-page bio highlighting all of your strengths and not just what you did, but the value you brought, the successes, the KPIs. That's what I'm looking for. When they start to spider you and you say, please share my collateral, they're very much more comfortable sharing this very nice polished bio of you. It goes to a leader that they know. And then that leader comes and taps and brings it to me and says, Judy, can you check this person out? And that's when I've got those things that we're doing behind the scenes where I'm looking for people. That's how you sort of connect into some of these roles.
Mm.
So Tanya may have a few things going on. I'm not sure. And I hope I covered some of the things just based on the generalness.
Yeah. I
Mark.
think with that, again, would echo for Tanya, it could be many things. And you hit upon these, Judy. I think first I'd look at her value proposition, then how she's
Mm,
networking, and then what's her follow-up approach.
yeah.
And I'll tell you, for the positioning oneself, what Judy was talking about, know what the value you bring, what makes you different. And then I'd add to that, say it in a differentiated way. If I had $1 for every seasoned, proven, results-oriented executive, I'd be on my mega yacht right now in the Caribbean, and you'd all be invited for a big party, okay? I'll tell you, everybody I talked to was seasoned, results-oriented, proven.
Yes,
The executive
yes.
is going to get my attention. I'm not proven and I'm not results-oriented. Okay, you got my attention. No, don't do that. But the key is, there are those attributes that make you stand out.
Yes.
And then also you need to communicate it in a way that's differentiated. So back to Tanya, that's one thing I'd look at. In terms of the network or how you're going to market, the networking. If you want a formula for depression, rejection, just churn and burn. I mean, just spray all the the resumes you're sending out online and all that. It's a great waste of time. You may win the lottery. Someone does. I've worked. It is akin to someone's got to win it, maybe not. So sometimes they're actually not giving away the award. They're publishing, positions not necessarily to hire somebody. There's a lot of reasons why they might need the third candidate is per their internal process. But to get your nose under the tent of a potential posting, go to your network, see who you know, or someone who knows somebody who knows somebody. I could tell you in my career, I could count 3 positions I got from somebody who knew somebody who knew somebody else who referred me, who I got in. And if you get your nose under the tent to these positions that are posted, you might even bypass the whole formal selection process, or at least what's happening in that organization, so you could then position yourself against where they are and what the needs are to have you stand out from the masses. And then the follow-up. These companies haven't been standing around waiting for you to apply. Your network, people are very busy, and they haven't been waiting for you to reach out to them. You've got to be persistent. And I would say there's a balance between being persistent and being a stalker. So, persistent is, having a process, writing it down, not in your head. It doesn't have to be a sophisticated CRM system. It could be as simple as a spreadsheet. Here are my network contacts. Here are the target companies I'm going after. Here are the recruiters who have the Rolodex. And I'll use that term thinking those on the phone today know what a Rolodex is. But, and then working it. And doing that well. And there's a skill and an art to that. So that's for Tanya. I'd look at value proposition, targeted marketing, and the follow-up process that's being used. And I think in there would probably lie a solution to move things along and give it time. I mean, the process is not a straight line to success. The truth of it is, when you do all that, you're going to have some traction, meaning you're going to get returns, people are going to respond. Some people you thought they were going to respond don't, and those that you would think maybe never would have, and you go through your peaks and valleys. So you got to be prepared for that. It's not straight line to opportunities. And I think if you take all that into consideration, you're in a better place to succeed.